it's been 2 years since we started this YouTube channel, sharing our journey after we sold our home and everything we owned to buy this abandoned caravan park.
So we started filming this just as a way to show our friends and family that live all over the UK and the whole world what we're up to here, and something for us to look back on maybe in 10 years time and see how much the land has changed. And little did we think anyone would care to watch and follow us along on the journey.
Yeah, today we're celebrating a really big milestone. We've somehow hit 150,000 of you that are all subscribed to watch this journey. So we just want to say a massive thank you for all the support and all the advice and help you've given us along the way.
We thought because there's quite a few people watching us now, it'd be a good time for us to answer some of those questions you have all been asking, and we'll do a Q&A. And I think it's a good time to set the record straight on what we're doing here at Camp Out West.
Yeah, before we start, we just wanted to ask if all of you could just write a comment where you're watching from, because we would love to know.
As the land's changed so much since we first moved on, we thought it was time to give an updated tour and a walk around the land. And one of the most commonly asked questions is, could we provide like an aerial view or a map of the land? So we've actually had a map illustrated just for this video to give you an idea of where things are and ideas on like our plans and what other things are going to be added to the land in the future. Our land is just under 3 acres in size, and you can see from the map now the shape of it. It's quite a weird shape. So it's pretty much a right angled triangle, and with a lot of the facilities that were on the land from when it was a coal miners caravan site, that's kind of dictated where we've positioned things on the land. This is the top of the land. Behind me here is actually 4 old caravan pitches, and when we turned up on the land it was completely overgrown with small weedy willows and bramble, so we cleared all that away. And now we've got a shipping container here which has got all of our building materials, so as they arrive we put them in there for dry storage. Then next to there we've got our polytunnel, which is on a pallet ready for us to build it, and then we've got the chickens who are living up here, we've got the outdoor shower, and then all of our wood and our coal storage is here as well. You watching the girls? Where are they? Where's your girls? Okay, so our plan up here at the top of the land is this is where we want our forever home to be. On the map you're looking at, it's called the Big Cabin. So our land comes with permission for 3 residential caravans. In the UK people call them park homes as well. The reason we want to put our forever home here is there used to be 4 caravans here, so all of their sewer system is still here. So that will save us a lot of money on the build of the forever home, and also it's such a nice spot. So this is facing south, so this area gets a lot of sunlight, which would be great for solar, and it's very protected from the weather as well. So we're going to put some of our inspiration pictures on the screen now of what our forever home plan is. We are really inspired by Scandinavian design and architecture, and that has heavily influenced our design inspiration for the Big Cabin, and that's a style we'd love to try and create in the future with this build. On the map it's called the Big Cabin, and it's called the Big Cabin because we estimate it's going to be 4 times the size of the cabin that we're currently building, and closer to the max size that's allowed for a residential caravan, which can be up to 20 metres by 6.8 metres, single storey building with a floor to ceiling height of 3 metres. And if people are wondering why we haven't gone and built our forever home first, you know, the small cabin is going to cost us a lot less money. We know that we're DIY and we're new to it all, so we're going to make mistakes, which I'm sure you've already seen. But it's better for us to learn on the small build where it costs a lot less if we make those mistakes than to do it on the big cabin. So that's the top of the land. I'm going to walk you down the drive now and show you where the 2 cabins and the camping is going to be. This is the spot that had 3 static caravans here. So they're all fallen apart, full of rubbish, and were tangled in the trees when we got here. So we cleaned that all away, recycled all those caravans, and this is what we're left with. So we've decided this is the spot for our guest cabins to be sited at, and the reason for that is because they're also connected to the main drains. So in an ideal world we probably would have moved the guest cabins to other areas into the back of the field, but that would have cost us tens and tens of thousands to reinstate all that drainage.
So when we moved onto the land, we had 1, 2, 3 caravans all side by side, and for us we didn't really want them that close together, so we decided to turn the middle plot into a raised bed garden, which we've been enjoying, and we're hoping that guests will like it too. So we're going to have the first guest cabin here, a raised bed garden, and a second guest cabin just here, and the second one will have a deck out onto it leading into the garden, and that's actually the main reason why we decided not to put any windows on the first cabin, so they're not looking at each other, the guests, they're nice and separate.
So behind me is where the second guest cabin is going to go. It's the same footprint as the first cabin, but at the moment we're just using it for somewhere to park the van, but we'll soon be building another concrete slab on there for the second cabin.
Directly opposite where our second guest cabin is going to go, we have actually been living in our touring caravan on site, and this is what we're going to turn into our guest car park.
This is our mountain of drainage stone, because half our field drainage is now done, but we'll talk about that later. So behind me here is the cabin that you've all been watching us build, and the most common question that keeps coming up with a cabin build is why aren't we building the cabin directly onto the concrete? And kind of like what we said earlier, our planning permissions for the site are for residential caravans only, or park homes. So this is being built as a residential caravan, and the options with that is they have to be on a hard standing. So we've got our concrete slab, which is our hard standing, and then you have the option of a wooden or a steel ring beam, or you have a chassis, because this structure has to be able to be moved on the highway. And we figured the best option out of those bases was to go for the chassis with the wheels, because if we ever wanted to reconfigure the site, or even if we had to maybe sell the cabin in the future, it'd be a lot easier to move it with the wheels. Otherwise you'd have to get a crane in you. Our plan with this cabin is once it's done, we are going to move out of our 20-year-old touring caravan, which we've been living in for 2 years, because it is literally falling apart every day. We're going to move temporarily into this so we can get better living conditions. We can have flushing toilets, indoor showers, which in turn will make us a lot more productive. And then we can crack on then with the second cabin build and the third cabin build, and then this will become our main guest cabin then that we can book out or rent out to people. Behind me here is going to be our shower block on our laundry room for the campsite, and then where you can see the deck, we've currently got some tables and stuff where we've just been using it in the summer to just eat outside. That's actually going to be the location for our first glamping tent. And then right down in the corner we've got a plan to have a wood-fired sauna, and that's something we're going to be putting in fairly soon, because we'd like to get all the wood protected before the winter, because we do plan to have guests from next spring. Since last summer we've been getting a lot of questions about our tent and what happened with the tent. So this is all that's left of the tent after it got mangled in the wind. But the manufacturers came back to us and they admitted all their wrongdoings, like they used the wrong gauge of steel for all the framework. They even admitted that they hadn't seam sealed or taped the seams. So the tent was pretty much doomed from the start. They actually sent us a replacement tent. We've yet to set it up. But honestly, I think we've just lost faith in that brand completely, and we kind of have to take it for experience. But we're actually going to go fairly soon to like a glamping trade show to kind of see what other manufacturers there are out there and what's available in the UK. So if anyone's got any experience with glamping tents or canvas-based tents in the UK, give us a shout of any of those brand names, we'd appreciate it. This is the deck that the tent is going to be going on. So we chose this spot because it's got such a nice view. You get an amazing sunset out here. But our plan is just to the side of the deck here, we're going to be having an outdoor kitchen for the people staying here. But while we've had no tent here this summer, we've been making the most of this nice, clean, raised area. We've got a little set of tables and chairs, and we've got the barbecue here, and we have had our families come down, which has been really nice to make the most of it. So this area of land here is the view for the tent, and it's kind of the view for the cabin as well. We don't have any massive plans for any infrastructure here because we don't want to ruin the view. We might potentially have like a fire pit or something that people, if they want to socialise, can hang around. But also where we've got the French drains coming down here, we want to turn one into a path that leads us down and then into the corner where we're going to have our wood-fired sauna. Yeah, so down here past the big oak tree, just on the left here, we plan to have our wood-fired sauna. So it's tucked away nicely in here. It's got the same amazing view as the tent, but it's kind of private enough so different people can use it, and it still stays private. We're going to be angling it this way, looking out at the mountains, which would be really nice. And then we're going to be planting hedging and some more trees around here to make it really private. So I'm just leaving the camping field into an area that we haven't really shown that much of. So if you look on the map, the only thing that we've shown here is in the back here, we're going to plan to have our polytunnel. Main reason we haven't really shown this area of the land at all is because it gets so wet. Even now, you can probably hear this. It's very wet. So we have plans to get more French drains running all the way down to that corner to hopefully turn this into a more usable space. The only thing we've got plans for now is polytunnel, some more growing spaces, and then we are going to move the chickens from the top of the land back here. So I am stood in our future polytunnel back in the corner of this bit of the land, and I don't know if you can see it back there, but that's the only remaining static caravan on the site. So we have shown it before, and that is the one that still has an angry swarm of bees in it. We haven't really shown that part of the land because we haven't really done anything over there. But on the map you will see that we've got in there a candle studio. So if you didn't know, our daytime jobs we are wedding photographers. We go all over the place shooting weddings, but we also have an online store, and we make our own candles, which we sell online, so our own website and through Etsy. So in the summer months, we're mainly wedding photographers, and then come the holiday season, we're mainly candle makers, and we're going to markets and things like that. So the plan is, we currently rent a warehouse from our local council where we make all of our stuff. We'd like to get rid of that cost eventually and bring it home. So we're thinking in the back there, once that caravan's gone, is to maybe get a couple of shipping containers, get them insulated, get some windows in them, maybe some ventilation, and actually turn that into our little place to do our online businesses. Doesn't need to be fancy, like they're only small businesses, but just something we can bring it home.
So we've just come into the cabin as it started to rain outside, so we thought we'd finish the rest of the Q&A questions inside.
Yeah, so something that comes up quite often is whenever we're working on this cabin that we're sat in now, we'll sometimes mention that it's a guest cabin, or like what would the guests want, or like, you know, we make decisions tailored on what guests would want. I think some people get confused thinking this is going to be our forever home.
Yeah.
Like we are going to live in here to get us out of that caravan, but the plan with this all along was this is going to be a cabin so we could learn how to build, kind of iron out all of the mistakes, so we could learn from it and then save up some money and then build our forever cabin like we mentioned earlier. So we will live in here temporarily, but ultimately the goal is build this and then build a bigger version of it so we can have that as our forever home.
Yeah, so this cabin is going to be a guest cabin, but we get to enjoy it for a few months while we finish working on the other ones. But that was always our plan, wasn't it? We spent about 5 years looking for land to buy, always with the dream that we could have a business on site and get to build our own home too. We are full-time wedding photographers. That's a question actually we get a lot, is how do we make money? We work full-time. We are wedding photographers and videographers, and we've been really lucky to do that for 8 years now, and we travel all over the world. But as we've got into our mid-30s, we really want a slower pace of life and spend more time at home. And I think for us, since we got Maggie, we hate leaving her.
Yeah, I think with the type of weddings that we do, like we're called the Wild Bride, we basically do non-traditional weddings. So like we're willing to travel to shoot on beaches, barns, teepees, in the woodlands, all different stuff. But it means that we're always traveling. So for us, like a day of work is not a day of work. It takes up multiple days. And I think we're at that point now. We've got such a beautiful place to live. We really don't like to leave.
Yeah, I hate leaving it. But we have had the best job. Like we meet so many nice people, and we've still got a few more years of weddings left to pay for this. But we really love the idea of being able to do something on the land. And I think for me, as I am ill quite a lot, trying to fit weddings around my illness is really impossible. So being able to work on the land, so if I am unwell, it will just be a lot more, what's the word? Just
easy.
Yeah, easier.
Yeah.
And I don't have to stress leading up to a wedding, am I going to be ill or not? So that was a big thing for me personally, wanting to be able to work where we live. This isn't something we've ever talked about on YouTube before. I have a chronic disease called endometriosis, which is an invasive tissue that kind of invades healthy organs and just in general makes me really ill. I had surgery a few years ago, didn't I? Just to remove all the endometriosis that was invading my organs. But it's a chronic disease, so it always comes back. And yeah, if you've noticed in a lot of our videos, if I disappear, it's normally because I'm quite unwell in the caravan. And for me, it causes a lot of pain, which makes me throw up a lot. And it happens quite a lot. So it's not something we spoke about because it's so consistent. I think people would get annoyed hearing about it.
And you've dealt with it for decades.
It's gone on so long. So if I'm having a good day, I'm having a good day. But if I'm having a bad day, I just have to deal with it and then just wait for it to pass. And we also know that people deal with so much worse. So it's not really something we've ever wanted to dwell on our YouTube channel. But that is a big reason why I want to be at home more. So if I am having a bad day or it's flaring up, then I don't have to stress about leaving.
So we got a couple of...
Wait, sorry, I was wriggling.
So we got a couple of quick questions to go through. So people want to know how old we are.
Mid-30s. Thank you to anyone that thought we were younger. Question 2, when are you going to open?
Hopefully next spring we're going to have some guests.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Question 3, how did you buy the land?
We sold our house and everything inside it so we could live in a field.
Yeah, people always ask us as well how we're affording to do it. As we mentioned in most of our videos, we do work full time.
Yep.
Another question we get all the time is, why are you so slow?
because we work full time.
Yeah, and everything we do on the land costs money. So we did our drainage 2 videos ago, and that cost us £6,000, and that was all the money we had. So now we have to save up to do the next bit on the land. So that's why there is natural breaks in our videos where we save up to do each bit.
Yeah, and we make mistakes.
Yeah.
And learn as we go.
Yeah, so things are really, really slow. And sometimes we just want a day off, so.
One question we get asked pretty regularly in the comments section, and also we get like inbox messages and emails, is people asking, can they come and live on the site in their own camper van or in their own caravan in exchange for like labour? And also we get people asking, can we arrange days where people can volunteer to help us? Personally, we don't really agree with people working for free, even though they want to do it out their own will.
Yeah.
That's not something we really want to take anyone up on the offer. We do appreciate the offer, but we're quite happy getting stuck in, doing the work ourselves, and where required, we will hire people in to help.
Yeah, we would rather pay people than have people give up their time for free.
Yeah, we've got full-time jobs. We've got like our candle business and stuff we do on the side. Obviously, we make these videos, and we're trying to build a cabin. It's quite a lot of moving cogs. I think that's enough for us to manage without having to manage other people's time or having people on the land with us.
Yeah, as much as we want to open to guests, we love the idea with our campsite that people can come when we open to them. They won't be here full time. So I think if we had permanent residents, it would just change the whole aspect of the land. For us, we still want to be able to enjoy it because it is our home, but then we can open up when we want to for guests. So yeah, thank you for your offer. But we are just going to be a holiday accommodation site. We don't want full-time residents with us. Another question we get quite a lot is, are we going to get another dog for Maggie?
Not at the moment. I think Maggie is, as cute as she is in the videos, she is actually quite a handful.
And we do live in a caravan, so I think really we couldn't realistically get another dog.
How would you train a puppy in a caravan that's basically just a bed?
Yeah, you couldn't.
Yeah.
But hopefully in the future we can get a sibling for Mags.
Another question, are we getting any animals on the land? I think I'll answer that. So currently we've got Maggie and we've got 3 hens. So at the moment we do plan to get some more hens because one of our hens gets broody every other week. So our egg supply is rubbish. So we need to get a better egg supply. But apart from that, other animals on the land, I think in the future we would love to have something that would graze maybe on some of the land, like goats or sheep.
John would love pygmy goats. That's like your dream, isn't it?
But I think the more people we talk to about goats, they just say don't bother because it's stress. So yeah, we'll see. I think as we're building and stuff like that, it's not a priority to get animals here. And if we do get animals, they would basically be lawnmowers and pets. Like we wouldn't be planning on eating them.
No, just pets only.
Yeah. Quite a few questions are relating to why have we done this in Wales. We've probably answered this before. Like I'm from Wales, Em's got family from Wales. Like we love Wales, so that's why we're doing it in Wales. Everyone else is doing it in Portugal or Spain or all these like amazingly warm places. I would literally die if I moved to Portugal. I think like Em speaks a lot to Carissa and Ewan from Frankie Offgrid, and they get temperatures that are like 50 degrees.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to cope with that.
Not a chance. So even though it can rain a lot here, we're quite happy that we've chosen a spot in Wales.
Yeah, and also where we live. If you've watched our earlier videos, you know that all of John's family are from the villages nearby and have lived here for generations. And John's granddad actually worked at the coal mine opposite our land. So you have a lot of family ties here. My family is from the next town over in Swansea. And when we were looking for land, we found this just by accident, didn't we? We only lived, 10 minutes down the road in our house, the house we sold. So we were really lucky that we managed to stay here and we could afford it. Otherwise, I don't know where else we would have gone.
So that's the end of our Q&A on our little tour around the land. We had a wedding yesterday, so today is just like our day off. So we thought we'd do a little bit of an extra video.
Yeah, so if you have any other questions that we haven't answered, just let us know in the comment section. We've also done 2 other Q&A videos before, which I'll put in the descriptions if you want to watch them back. They kind of cover everything about how we bought the land, how we found it, how we funded it. They go into a lot more detail. But that's the end of today's video. But before we go, we just want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor, Squarespace. If you're new to Squarespace, they're an all-in-one website platform that gives entrepreneurs and creatives the tools to showcase and propel their products and brand ideas into successful businesses online. Being self-employed and owners of 3 online businesses, we know how important it is to have a fully functional and professional website. That not only helps us elevate our brands, but also allows us to make an income. Whether your business is just starting out or you're managing a growing brand, Squarespace make it easy for anyone, no matter your web design background or ability, to be able to create a beautiful and professional website, online store or booking platform. We're currently in the process of building a website and online store for Camp Out West. And what we love most about Squarespace is the amazing selection of ready-to-use website templates already available within your account. Squarespace also uses a next-generation website design system called Fluid Engine, which makes it effortlessly easy for you to customize every design detail of your website with their easy-to-use drag-and-drop technology, which works on both desktop or mobile, allowing you to create the website of your dreams with ease. We also love their online store functionality feature, which will allow us to sell our hand-poured candles along with our Camp Out West coffee and t-shirts to people from all over the world. We love how easy it is to upload our products and get them ready to sell in just a few clicks. If you've ever dreamt of starting your own business or brand, or you're creative and you want to elevate your online presence, just head to www.squarespace.com/campoutwest for a free trial and get 10% off your first purchase or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.